Hi everyone, Melissa here. Today I am back to do the first entry into my June Birthstone series. Today I'm going to be creating a Moonstone look. This is the inspiration photo that I used to try and get this look going. The couple practice swatches I've done have kind of turned out completely different from each other. So I'm just gonna be working with it as I go and trying to create the look that's now basically just in my head. So here's hoping for the best. Okay, so today the colors I'm gonna be using, I have Bombshell from Rebel Nail. I might use a little bit of Come Sail Away from Double Dip, just a nice dark blue. Got Irish Eyes for a bright blue. I have Pure Imagination for a nice bright teal. I also have Mint Craze, just for a nice bright, this is more kind of a tealy mint, so we're a little bit more on the green side. I've got On Lime Time. I'm going to be using just a touch of this to add like just another pop of brightness in there, maybe. Casper the Friendly Ghost. For my white, some Got Milk for like the cloudy effect on it. Basically a huge wide array of color. For my main colors I'm going to be putting down, I'm going to be doing, couldn't decide which I wanted to do. I can't decide. Alright, well I'm going to dip down my main colors. We're just going to be doing one accent now because this is a time-consuming design. So I'm just going to do one on one. So I'm going to go ahead and get my solid colors down and then we'll get back here to start with the design. Okay, colors down. So I used Bombshell for the main nails. I used Pure Imagination here, and that's it. So now let's get into the design. The first step is going to be doing just a single coat of white on the nail. This is to help all of the brighter colors that are going to be going on top pop out a little bit more. And also it's a glow, so my hope is that there will be a glowing effect. Maybe this time I'll actually remember to take a picture of the glowing effect of this design. I always forget. But to start, I'm going to just do a full layer of dip base on the nail because it's going to dry pretty quickly and I don't want to risk getting partial coverage of this white because I want to only have to do one dip. So make sure that the nail gets full coverage in one coat. We're going to let this first layer dry first. Okay, I'm going to do, just go ahead and paint on the base and dip one layer of the white. Okay, now I'm going to actually activate this one layer because all the design I'm going to be doing over the top of it, I don't want one mixing into the white, and two, I want to have a nice smooth shiny surface, dry shiny surface on the nail for me to do the design that I'm planning to do. Let that dry, just wait a minute. And then I'm gonna do a layer of dip base over the top, and that dip base should dry pretty quickly because there's activator in the layers underneath, and that will give me a nice shiny surface to work on for the next layers. I always say do be careful of doing this if you have a liquid that is prone to contamination because applying base on top of layers that have activator in it can contaminate your liquids. I don't have that issue with these. They are not easily contaminated, but if yours do, then wait a little bit longer after activating just to make sure that your brush doesn't get hardened and your actual liquid doesn't thicken up. Okay, so that's already dry. So I'm gonna go ahead and get out all my colors I'm gonna be playing with here. So I'm gonna be playing with Bombshell, some Irish Eyes just because it's a little bit lighter and brighter. Come Sail Away just in case. I don't know if I'm gonna use that for sure. Pure Imagination. Mint Craze. Casper. Over here. Online Time. I'm going to be using a couple different methods here. I'm kind of going to be combining a couple of my no waste marble techniques, a little bit of the agate technique, and then a little bit of pour over or tap over. We'll see where it goes. So I'm going to be using this, my e.l.f. eyeshadow brush. I'm going to be using my water marbling tool, and probably my cuticle pusher, just to manipulate the powders in different ways. I'm gonna start by applying some base in this upper corner, upper area. I'm going to apply actually I'm gonna go ahead and do another full layer. Okay, so I'm just gonna apply some base up here. I'm gonna just want it up like, just gonna kind of do it up in this corner, slightly coming down at an angle, almost like I'm color blocking, but just freehanding it. I don't need it to be a perfect straight line or anything. I'm gonna pour some of that Bombshell over. Oh, hey, how you doing? Bombshell over the top. Just gonna clean up here, make sure that's nice, and kind of scratch along this edge to clean up here too. Okay, I'm gonna do another layer on here, kind of following the same line, because Bombshell does not have a lot of opacity. It's a pretty transparent color. It goes on pretty transparent, so I'm going to tap over a little bit now. So I'm going to do some, just kind of going to tap on some Bombshell here. Tapping on just a bit of Irish Eyes. And I'm going to tap on just a little bit of Come Sail Away, just to add a little bit of darkness. And then some more covered in Bombshell. Okay, now I'm going to move over to my lighter colors over here. I'm going to do a little bit of, just kind of going to apply a strip of base. We're going to do the same thing with the tapping over. I'm going to use some Pure Imagination onto here, a little bit of mint, on Lime Time. Okay, and I'm going to do it again on the same place. I'm just wanting to build up a little bit so that when we file, I'm not filing away color. I just want to build it up. Okay, now I'm switching to this my 10x Tina, just because I want this little tiny brush. I'm trying and rock out like a darker line here. Trace out a thin line right underneath where the lighter colors are, and go into the Bombshell here. Just gonna go over it one more time just to make sure I'm okay with this being a little bit higher than the rest of the layers, because we're going to be filing that down. I just want to make sure that it's high enough that it doesn't disappear. Okay, I'm gonna do some more down here. I'm gonna be using the light colors again for some of it here. Again, we're gonna kind of tap over a little marbly. I'm actually going to put just a bit of Irish eyes over here, add a little bit of darker blue in there, just a bit. Gonna do another kind of line like we did here. Kind of changing up the direction, so I did a little thin line for the dark blue that's kind of like angling down a bit. I'm gonna clean it up on both sides to thin it out. We're gonna do a lot of filing down. I'm actually gonna do just a little bit kind of, I don't know, some just random sprinkles of color. Really make it pop, and I'm just gonna throw a little bit of white and some spots to give it some brightness. I don't know, we'll see. Okay, I'm done applying this color for now. I'm gonna go ahead and close these up. Actually, I'm going to activate first and then get all these closed up, and then I'll come back once it's dry and we'll file this down and see what our base surface is gonna look like. Okay, that's pretty cool, like stony look for kind of that inside of the Moonstone vibe. So the next step here, I'm actually going to put a chrome over the top of this. I'm going to be using the double dipped Aurora Periwinkle Unicorn Chrome. I want kind of the inside, it's going to be kind of like the inside of the Moonstone has that that shift to it, that opalescent kind of shift to it when you look inside, sort of like a Moonstone does. So I'm going to be doing a layer of no wipe gel top. I'm just going to be doing a thin layer. Doesn't have to go all the way to the edge. We're not worried about lifting because we're going to be doing dip powder over the top. I'm going to cure that for 30 seconds so then we can chrome that. I'm just going to use a little sponge applicator here and I'm just going to chrome that in. You can see it gives a really cool kind of a bluish pearly sheen to it. So I'm going to just rub that in with my finger now just to make sure that's nice and smooth on there. I'm going to do a layer of gel base over the top of it to seal that. And give that a full cure of 60 seconds. I'm not trying to buff through the base coat and buff off the chrome, but I want to get rid of some of this shine for the details I'm going to be doing here. So I'm going to start with a pencil, and I'm just going to do like some kind of like scratchy, like just a little bit of scratchy vibe, like not a lot with the pencil. I just want to give it a little bit more like a I've lived in the earth for a long time and I have some scars kind of feel to it. If that makes any sense at all. Okay. Only looks kind of crazy so far. Next step, the Moonstone has kind of like a cloudy look to it. And especially in my inspiration photo, you could see that the cloudy effect is more prevalent around the outside of the stone. And then the inside, the center is a little bit more clear, but still got that kind of cloudiness over the top. So I'm gonna be using just some white gel polish for this. I'm just using my ASP White Hot, and then I'm going to get a little bit of alcohol here in a cap so that I can manipulate the gel easily with it. I've got a little paintbrush. This is actually a miniatures painting paintbrush, and I'm going to just start putting some white around the edge of the nail. And then I'm just going to get the tiniest bit of the alcohol on the brush so that I can use it too. I don't want too much or it's going to make the gel run, but I'm going to use that to kind of blend the gel out so that kind of fades. And I'm just using my finger to like tap to blend any strokiness that's on there from the brush. Okay, I'm gonna cure this a little bit so I can do more layers around the outside and build up just a little bit more white right around the edge. Okay, I'm also gonna use the white to do just a little bit of like a kind of a crack feel through the stone. So I'll just do some like white lines going the opposite direction of the other lines that I have going on. I'm going to use the alcohol again to kind of clean that up so that it's a nice thin kind of wispy look instead of these thick lines. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and cure it here because otherwise I'm just gonna go a little bit crazy and overdo it. So I'm gonna go ahead and cure all that white gel design in place. And then we have one step left, which is a dip of got milk over the entire thing. It's gonna add that extra cloudiness to it and hopefully finish off that moonstone look, hopefully. All right, I'm going to activate and file everything, and then we'll assess the situation. Okay, all filed up. Now is the moment of activation and top coat and reviewing what it's really gonna look like. Okay, and there is the finished look. I'm not sure if that iridescent shift that's inside of there is showing up in the camera, but I can definitely still see it, so I'm super happy about that. I think it turned out pretty cool. It definitely ended up being a lot more steps than my original plan was when I first saw a moonstone and thought of how I would recreate it. It ended up being quite a lot, so I appreciate you sticking with me through all of that. And let me know what you think below. I'm excited. I'm going to be doing a second June birthstone mani in a couple weeks here, so hopefully that one turns out well also. So as always, thank you for joining me,